I'm not trying to get an agreement with you because you want to take somebody else's man or woman or whatever. I'm not trying. I don't know what your deal is. My name is Tiffany, and one of the most important things life has taught me is that you've got to show up for yourself. Don't know the words we Hi, my name is Tiffany. Welcome to Present for Myself. Let's get right into this. So, what I want to talk to you about today is protecting your energy. It's very important that you protect your energy, especially as it pertains to the amount of access that you allow people to have to you. Now, when I started this channel, I said that I was going to give you insight from my own personal experience. So personal is definitely the operative word here. This is stuff that I do, my personal tactics or techniques or what have you, things that I do that help me to protect my energy. When I think about the amount of love and care and concern I have for my fellow man, I'd like to think that it's immeasurable. But when it comes to my energy, I understand that that is a limited resource simply because I'm sitting here in front of you in a physical body. And some of the things that can take place in my physical body will be impacted by how I protect my energy. If you look at it like that, then you understand that you have to manage and budget your energy. Now, when you talk about energy, I'm not talking about and it could be, depending on how you choose to look at it, something that's more metaphysical or esoteric. I'm talking about just the resource that causes you to be edified enough to be able to move about in this world, to get up every day and to have the motivation that you need to keep going. That energy that compels, that energy that motivates you to do what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And yes, it can be affected by toxic people pulling on you, especially when you're talking about it in a more metaphysical way. But it also can just be affected by how much access you allow people to have to you on a regular basis. These are some things that I do to help manage that. Number one, I don't call everybody back. Now, this is personal. These are my personal opinions, and this is also what I'm talking about also has to do with my personal phone, not my business. Now, my business, that's a different situation. I'm talking about personally. I don't call every single person who rings my phone and leaves a voicemail back, because everyone who calls you is not someone that you need to be talking to in that moment or possibly even in the future about whatever the subject matter is. So I'm very conscientious and aware about who I call back. Plus, I'm a voice coach and I know that voice carries energy. For me, I expel a lot of energy and expend a lot of energy when I'm sharing my voice, even through regular conversation. And you do too, whether you realize it or not. Everything does not warrant a callback. So what I do is I indicate that by the way that I have crafted my voicemail. My voicemail simply says, "You have reached my voicemail. Please feel free to leave a message. Thank you." And that's it. I don't go into all of, "You've reached my voicemail. I am so sorry that I missed your call." I may not be sorry that I missed your call. I get it. You're saying, "Tiffany, you're doing too much right now. It's just a voicemail." It is your words and it is your intention being set forth for every person that rings your phone. So I say, "Thank you for calling. You've reached my voicemail. Please feel free to leave a message." I don't say I will contact you back. I simply let them know that they have reached me and that they can leave a voicemail. I then take the information and I determine if I'm going to call that individual back. It saves me a lot of time and energy because I don't want to be making verbal contracts where I tell people, "Leave a message and I will contact you back." I'm not going to do that because I like to be a woman of my word, a person of my word. And so I've literally just made a verbal contract that whoever called, whoever left a message, that's the prerequisite for getting a phone call back from me, is just leaving a message and I will contact you back. And so I'm not going to do that. The second thing that I do to preserve my energy and to monitor how much access I allow people to have to me is when I go out just on a regular day, like going to the grocery store or wherever it is that I may happen to go, I'm very mindful and intentional about my communication there as well. Just like before when I said I don't call everyone back and then I'm very careful how I communicate on my voicemail, I'm also very careful how I communicate to people when I come in contact with them, whether it's someone I know and I happen to see them out or whether it's just a stranger. So for instance, I came through a line, maybe at a store or what have you, and the person said, "Hi, welcome to so-and-so. How are you today?" And I replied very kindly and with a lot of warmth in my voice. I said, "I'm doing well. Thank you." And that's all I said. I didn't say, "I'm doing well. How are you doing?" First of all, I understood that that was the cashier's, responsibility. That's probably what they're told to ask all the people that come in. So I responded, I'm doing well. I answered the question, and then I thanked them for being concerned enough to ask. Common courtesy says for me to say I'm doing well and then respond back with, and how are you? Now, sometimes, because this does require a good deal of empathy and intuition, sometimes I will say to a person, how are you? But I try to make sure that I have time to listen to whatever response they're going to give me. Because a lot of us get caught up in things that we can't, or conversations that are not easily disengaged from because of common courtesy. I'm doing well. Thank you. Not I'm doing well. How are you? Because in that moment, especially if it's not something that you meant, you may get an earful. Well, I was doing fine until such and such and such and such. And then blah, blah, blah to the bloody, blah, blah, blah. And then there you are. You're sitting there with 5 minutes to be where you have to be, and that person with 10 minutes worth of stuff to tell you. Now, yeah, you can disengage, but you did ask them how they were doing. So I'm just, it's the little things like that. I try to be very aware of how I engage people in conversation. I answer the question. I am grateful for the fact that you have asked, and then we can conclude our business and we keep it moving. And then sometimes if I do intuitively feel like I need to ask further or whatever, I will, because I am a concerned person and I do care about people. But again, I monitor that. I ask myself, how much time do I truly have to devote to this person in this moment? And how much energy do I have to expend? Because, there is such a thing as just being there for your fellow man and paying attention to cues and stuff if someone needs help. But that goes beyond what I'm talking about here. Just practical everyday ways that you can monitor and protect your energy. And then the third thing that I do is that I have learned when people ask me for my assistance, especially when it's something that everyone is usually quick to say yes about, I will ask questions. I want to know what's going on with it. For instance, people may ask you to do what's called holding space for them or praying for them or what have you, depending on your spiritual affiliation or whatever it happens to be. So when someone asks me to hold space for them, or if someone asks me to pray for them, a lot of times I need a little bit more information, or I'm going to pray a general or hold space in a way that just is hoping for their highest and their best. I'll just say I hope the highest and the best towards the situation. And that's all I can really offer, because I don't know what's really going on. And I'm very careful about who I join my energy with in order to bring about an expected end. So a lot of times, think about it. You might be, like on social media or something. You see people come on and they'll go, hey, you guys, pray for me. And then people immediately, without even giving thought to it, come up under it and say, done, done, done. And, sometimes people are just doing it and they just go into the next status update or, whatever it is. And they really don't do it. And so that's another thing. I want to keep my word. If I tell you that I'm going to be in agreement with you for something, then I'm going to be in agreement with you for that thing. I'm going to hold space. I'm going to take time out of my life and I'm going to apply it towards helping you. I just think things like that are too precious to be trifled with. I really do. And so basically, I may need a little bit more information. I don't need to know all your business, but if it's something general and I do agree to do so, it's going to be probably like a general, I just hope the highest and best for whatever situation that they're needing prayer for. And that's basically what I do. If they go into more detail, then I will, be very mindful to hold space accordingly or to pray accordingly or whatever you want to call it. I'll do that accordingly. So that's just the way that I roll. Because I want to be a person of my word, and B, I want to make sure that I am joining forces with, and yes, you are joining forces with someone whenever you are, going into whatever spiritual realm it is or holding space in a practical way for someone, you are getting into agreement for what it is that they want. That's what you're saying. I'm not trying to get in agreement with you because you want to take somebody else's man or woman or whatever. I'm not trying. I don't know what your deal is. Again, these are personal ways. And then also I want to, just add a little bit more to that particular, the third one here. Sometimes people will come to you and ask you to help them in a particular way, and you will end up being more committed to the situation than they are. I'm reminded of an episode of a show called Frasier, where Frasier and Niles, they were talking, and Niles, who is Frasier's brother, and he says, Frasier, do you think that me and my wife are meant to be together? Well, that's his brother. So Frasier took that question to heart. So Frasier became very invested in the outcome, walking up and down the street, pacing. Oh, what should I answer? What should I say? So he finally came up with the answer to his brother, and he went to his brother's house. And I finally had an answer to what it was you asked me. And he goes, what do you mean what I asked you? What question are you talking about? See, his brother wasn't even thinking about it. He wasn't as invested in the outcome. It was just a passing question for his brother over coffee in the moment. But Frazier took it and ran with it. And that is what some of us do, especially those of us who are empaths, especially those of us who are burden bearers for other people, who stand in the gap for other people, who really take our time to help other people. We put all of our energy and essence into stuff that the people who even ask us aren't as invested in. But if you're going to ask me to invest my time, my talent, my energy, my resources into something, just know that I'm going to do that for you. But I'm not going to do it if you're not as invested in the outcome as I am. Why should I? Why should anyone do that? I budget and manage my energy and the amount of access people have to me because I want to make sure that I can stay around for the long run and be there for people. You have to have some respect for yourself and for your calling and for your craft and whatever it is that you do, to want to be here and do it as excellently and with as much wholesome and hearty intention as possible. Subscribe if this information has been valuable to you. This is a radical self-care, exploration on this channel. Oh, and by the way, I'm rooting for you.
Sometimes when we don't know the words we